Welcome inside Studio S. It is Market Movers on a Wednesday. I am joined, of course, by Anita Marks. Anita, what's up? How are you? How's your week?
What is up? What is up? I'm just playing a lot of pickleball,
Right.
waiting for the NFL season to kick off.
Or your
Right?
call to the show, right?
Waiting,
The
waiting,
pickleball
waiting
professional.
for Major League Baseball trade deadline. Waiting for. I feel like I'm waiting for a lot of things to happen.
When is your call to the show going to come?
When is what?
Your call to the show, the Major League Pickleball. When is it coming?
Oh,
When can we expect it?
I don't know. That's I think I'm a ways off. So I think I asked you, do you dabble? Do you play? Have you played?
I've never played. I've seen people play. I think I could play, but I have yet to do it. We don't have any pickleball courts or materials around the home, so a little tougher on our end to do it. But I think I could. I think I could. I've got good lateral movement. I've had a couple knee injuries in my day, but nothing to preclude me from playing pickleball.
I just forewarn it's uber addicting. I don't know if the wifey would be really happy, especially with a baby in the house. But I'm
She
just I'm just forewarning. I'm just forewarning.
she might want to play. Hey, look, we're trying to get clubs into that girl's hands immediately. So paddle boards, clubs, whatever. We're trying to grow some athletes here.
I love it. I love it.
So they don't have
Let's
to talk for a living like their dad.
let's talk about some really phenomenal female athletes that are going to be strutting their stuff tonight, right? Which, by the way, where are you watching the game? Like,
I'll be watching the game at 9 o'clock at night from my couch.
Oh, okay.
Bedtime at the Coob household is before 9 o'clock these days, but I will brave the time difference, the 16-hour time difference between us and the Kiwis. I will be awake. I will not be alert. I will be watching, and hopefully I'm awake enough to bet the game tonight between the United States of America and the Netherlands. Before we get into your pick, Anita, I'd love to listen to your analysis on this one, because if you watch the broadcast against Vietnam previously over the weekend, a lot of consternation about how much more difficult this matchup against the Netherlands is going to be, as opposed to that first matchup, getting a lot of the women rest as they enter the latter stages of that game that was basically decided even when it was 2-0, let alone 3-0. But how do you break this one down? What do you foresee for the Stars and Stripes tonight?
Well, I was totally wrong in my first estimate in regard to what I thought was going to happen. I played the United States -6.5. You're absolutely right.
6.5.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dan, they should have. Vietnam is 32nd in the country.
And
they only have one player on their roster that plays outside of their country.
7 goals though. I mean, they
killed Thailand 13-0.
I mean, the U.S. missed a ton of opportunities, a ton of.
So huge red flag for me in that regard. So I'm playing this several ways. Well, first things first. Again, now Netherlands, they won against Portugal 1-0, which, by the way, wasn't very impressive either, because Portugal, it's not like Portugal's got this outstanding defense. And just for the mere fact that they only put up 1 goal against Portugal is quite concerning. But the fact that the United States only put up 3 goals against Vietnam, just as concerning, right? They had 66% of their possessions, 28 attempts on goal, and only scored 3. So I'm playing this a few ways. Number one, I do believe the United States is going to win. I don't think this is going to be a walk in the park. As you said, this is supposed to be a much more difficult matchup than Vietnam. And also, I think, the decision in regard to what players played forwards, mid, I think that was a really big surprise in regard to who started and who did not. Was it that the United States was like, listen, we're going to kill Vietnam, so let's use some load management, and I think they surprised a lot of folks in regard to the roster and those that they decided to start. Nonetheless, here's something to keep an eye on. This is being played in New Zealand, as you said. 9 p.m. Eastern time is kickoff. The weather temperatures are going to be quite chilly, mid 50s, good chance of rain, wind at 25 miles per hour. So this isn't going to be like phenomenal weather conditions for these ladies tonight either. So
I think it's driving down the price, Anita, as we look at our screen of the totals. I mean, over 2.5 plus 135. I mean, you look at the way America scored 3 goals and was relentless offensively. You would think they would have more than 2.5 goals in this game, but to your point, the weather seems to be driving that market down. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. So I'm playing the United States to win. I'm also going to play the under here at 4. What over under do you have in goals right now? So where right now, are you at under 3.5 goals? What is that at?
Under 3.5 is at minus 408, $80 per share. So that's a lot. But
that is a lot.
Under 2.5 is minus 150. Under 1.5 is plus 199. I mean, this tells me that I just can't imagine it's going to be that low scoring. I mean, they are assuming.
I think it's going to be low. I think it's going to be 2-1. I think the score is going to be. I'm looking at 2-1. That's kind of how I see this playing out. Now, keep in mind, the Netherlands, they've only won out of the last 10 times that they have faced the United States. They've only won once. And Vivian Miedema scored both those goals in that one game that they did beat the United States, but she's not even active because of an injury. So, you've got, and this United States team, this is a mix of veterans as well as young, exciting players that are coming up. I think that there's a chemistry and an ebb and flow that still needs to be created here. So again, I do have the United States winning, but I'm going under in goals here. I'm not anticipating a lot of scoring to be had in this matchup, Dan.
Okay, well, I like the 2.5, over 2.5. So I just bought one share of that at plus 138. I just think that this United States team is so undeniable, and they didn't really play all that well and still scored 3 goals. We'll see what happens. We're heads up on that one. The price for the United States tonight, minus 147 at Sport Trade. That's $59 per share, 59% chance to win. But you know what I love about three-way markets is not only your ability to hedge at Sport Trade, right? So because we offer 2-sided markets and a 3-sided market, if that makes sense, right? 3 options, 3-sided market. 2-sided market because you can short, right? Meaning you could bet on something not to happen. So if you were to find, say, an arbitrage opportunity or something like that, where the odds on Sport Trade are situated so where you can make money regardless of what happens, what you could do is you could bet at a different book. We'll just say like the United States plus 147. Let's say you wanted to bet on the Netherlands. It's not the perfect example. Let's say you wanted to do that, and then you came to the exchange to find something that will guarantee you profit. You could do that by buying no on the United States as long as the odds line up. And the ability to sort of cover all outcomes in a 3-sided market by saying, if you were to bet the Netherlands somewhere else, that would mean they have to win there. But if you could cover the rest of your basis by coming here and saying sell on Netherlands, then draw America winning, that covers everything. So that would kind of make sure that you locked in some profit. But in terms of live betting, one of my favorite things that you can do with soccer is in tie games, in the waning moments of these games, 70th minute and on, you're going to see the draw here, which is at $27 per share, right? Plus 265. That's going to keep ratcheting it up. And what happens is obviously because it's all correlated, both of the teams are going to come down in price into the plus territory for the United States, for example, well down because obviously the odds of them scoring a goal decreases in that amount of time. What I really like to do is find out who is the more aggressive team in that scenario and who's the more talented team. In most cases, it's always going to be the United States, which means they're always going to possess the ball more than the other team, especially if they're pressing to score because they don't want to play for extra time. They want to end the game. So you buy them at a very depressed price, knowing that they're going to ratchet up the pressure, ratchet up the balls into the zone, the offensive zone, and try to score. And what you can do is if they score, great, right? Because if they go up 1 goal late, that money bar is going to fly towards 100. But even if they just continually are pressuring and there are a lot of corner kicks and just possessing, you're still going to see a little bit of a rise in value. Now, if they don't score, it's going to go down to zero eventually, right? So you have to time the market very well. But even if they don't score, because you grab them at a depressed value, Anita, you're still not risking a whole lot. And you have the opportunity to 2, 3, maybe even 4 times X your money. So that's what I really like to do. I don't typically bet soccer pregame. I like to kind of see how things are shaking out. It's kind of like betting a total in football. I kind of want to see what the first couple of possessions look like to get a better idea of where the line is heading, what kind of game it is, right? Can I grab value if somebody scores early and I'm actually on the under? That's kind of how I feel with soccer.
Again, they possess the ball 66% of the time against Vietnam. You look at the roster; they've got better players with Smith. Rodman is expected, even though she got injured early in the game against Vietnam. So I totally understand where you're coming from, and I'm going to follow your lead here. I'm going to follow your lead while I'm watching.
Thank you. Much appreciated. I'm usually doing the opposite. So, all right, so go USA. We'll see what happens. They don't play again until I believe the weekend again. So
Tuesday they play. They play so they play again on Tuesday against Portugal, and that's at 3 a.m.
Will you be awake? Will you be up for that one?
Well, it's interesting. Apparently, there's a number of bars in Hoboken that are going to open up at 3 a.m. to watch USA soccer. So
really?
Yeah, if I could maybe I'll get like my pickleball crew to go and watch some soccer at 3 a.m. and we can go straight from the bar to the pickleball courts.
There you go.
So yeah. So if I could wrangle that, then I will.
What time are the bars closing anyway? 2, right? So they're going to close for like 30 minutes and then open back up? Just stay open.
Maybe they're just gonna, maybe they'll just stay open. I don't know, Dan. I don't stay out until 2 o'clock. I don't stay out till 2 o'clock in the morning in Hoboken. I'll stay out until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning in the city. I don't stay out until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning in Hoboken. I don't know what time Hoboken bars close.
That makes 2 of us. I haven't seen 2 a.m. in some time. Speaking of 3 a.m., it's the 3M tournament here for golf. Open, coming off the Open Championship, a rousing success for Brian Harman, who not in the field this week. He's still taking his victory lap. A lot of guys sitting this one out as they come back to the States. But the 3M Open, Cam Young leading the way at plus 1684, Sungjae Im 1862 rather, Tony Finau the same, Matsuyama at plus 2080. Emiliano Grillo has really had quite a season for himself. Plus 2,700, the same for Sepp Straka and Ludwig Aberg. JT, I assume, is playing in this just to try to find some good vibes. It's by far been his worst year as a professional. Justin Thomas has been awful. Cam Davis and Gary Woodland round out the top 10. When you are handicapping this field, Anita, smaller field, right, in terms of star power, but your guy Ludwig still hanging around there, just seems to be in the mix. He's in the mix. He's in the city till 3 a.m. He's in the mix. He may not be on top of the bar leading, Journey songs at karaoke, but he's in the crowd. He's leading the mix.
Don't stop believing, Dan. Don't stop believing. But you're right. We can call him my guy, Aberg. Love him. I'm going to play him to win. Well, actually, there's 5 guys that I like that I think are going to do well, make the cut, and possibly make some noise, maybe be in the top 5 or top 10 come Sunday, which obviously, again, we talk about it time and time again here on Sport Trade. Buy them now, get that value, get that price up, and sell, whether it's on Saturday or Sunday morning. So Aberg, love him, potential wild card for, I think, the European Ryder Cup team. This is his opportunity to really showcase what he can do. 2 big metrics I'm looking at here in Minnesota with the 3M. One is off the tee, got to be long, got to grip it and rip it, and he is a beast. 3rd in strokes gained off the tee, also 6th birdie or better in regard to strokes gained. He did miss the cut in the Scottish Open, but I'm not weighing that too heavily because he just doesn't have, believe it or not, a lot of experience on links courses. But what does that mean? He didn't play, obviously, in the Open. He's had a week off. So it's helped him prepare for this tournament. And again, not a very lackluster field. I think there's an opportunity for him here to shine. Gary Woodland, a guy that, again, long off the tee, fourth in birdie or better, also has been solid on approach. He's 90th in regard to the FedEx Cup standings. As we get closer, we know that time is coming. FedEx Cup, those 3 weeks, he wants to gain a little bit more, some more points. So I think he's going to be really tuned in to do that. So I like Gary Woodland this week. Aaron Rye, he missed the Open. He didn't play in the Open. Top 10 finishes at the Scottish Open. He's got a really long game. And ever since the RBC Canadian Open, he's 3 for 4 in making cuts with a pair of 2 top 10s. Also tied for 8th in par 4 scoring. You mentioned Grillo. Love him as well. And Lucas Glover. He is 16th in strokes gained off the tee, and he's 3rd in strokes gained on approach. And again, those are 2 metrics. The 2, to me, the most important metrics that I'm following here this week. So those are 5 guys, Aberg, Woodland, Rye, Grillo, and Glover, that I'm going to buy some shares on at Sport Trade.
Still a lot of money to be made in golf, but I have to feel like a lot of the attention now that we're through the majors shifts to football, right? It just kind of naturally is, okay, time to put summer in a box. If you root for one of the 15 MLB teams still sort of in the mix for a playoff spot, you're still sort of keeping an eye on them, but you're really in tune with the teams reporting to camp today and tomorrow. Before we get to baseball, because there was a live game I do want to track real quick for us, your general thoughts in the NFL season, your general thoughts on what you're looking for, things that could surprise you this year.
Well, obviously the last week plus the running backs and the running back position has been key, right? You've got Saquon Barkley, who did come to a 1-year deal with the Giants, $11 million. So he showed up at camp. Josh Jacobs still has not. I think there's going to be some disgruntled running backs that are coming in. I don't know if this is the year that you feel like, oh, this running back's he's in a contract year. He's really going to show out. I don't know if we have that much weight, because it doesn't matter. These running backs are understanding their position is being devalued. So for teams that are relying heavily on their running back situation, offensively now, do those teams take a hit? Those that don't have a real firepower at the the wide receiving core or the passing game. Something to consider moving forward. That I'm really, really high on the Cincinnati Bengals. I love the Bengals this season. They're my Super Bowl pick. I love the addition of Orlando Brown Jr. to that offensive line. Joe Burrow's been sacked 121 times in his career with the Cincinnati Bengals. Just imagine what he can do when he actually has time to do it. And I think we're going to see that this season. And you can argue that he's got one of the best wide receiving cores. And, oh, by the way, Joe Mixon renegotiated his deal to take less money. And typically when you see players do that on a team, it's because they're putting a value on potentially winning a Super Bowl. So,
sure.
So I'm all in on the Cats.
I love the story a couple of days ago of the Bengals bracing themselves to pay all these superstars they drafted. Oh, woe is us. We draft so well. We're really worried about all this money we have to pay everybody. Meanwhile, like, the Lions suck every year. I just think that story is so funny. Whatever. How
are you feeling about your Eagles?
Well, the NFC is so terrible that I feel really good about it. I mean, typically you're looking at a situation where a team loses the Super Bowl. They come back, they lose both their starting linebackers, both their starting safeties. They arguably dead even down the middle. They lose Javon Hargrave, but they still draft Jalen Carter. And you think, okay, well, they lost basically the entire middle of their defense. They've switched coordinators on both sides of the football. There was massive turnover on the coaching staff. Offensively, they're basically the same. Letting Miles Sanders go, to me, is actually addition by subtraction, considering the guys they brought in. So I actually think the coordinators are the biggest difference this year. We'll see what happens. But the NFC is so bad, I would be shocked if the Eagles, even with the more difficult schedule, I would be shocked if they didn't win still 11 games this year. Shocked.
I mean, you're right. It's really concerning just how bad the NFC is compared to the AFC. So, with that being said, just think about the value in investing in the Eagles or the Cowboys, right? Like, because the rest of the NFC is just so god awful.
I mean, can you even find 7 playoff teams? I mean, if you have to take the Cowboys, the Eagles, winner of the NFC, the Seahawks.
So I think the Eagles win the East. I've got the Lions winning the North.
Sure.
I've got the Saints winning the South. I've got Seattle winning the West.
Right.
You got to think the 49ers will get in as a wild card.
Sure.
Cowboys will get in as a wild card.
And then it's the poo-poo platter of the Vikings, the Panthers, maybe. I mean, if they can keep Bryce Young upright, I mean, he's rail thin. I don't think the Packers are really going to be into the mix.
And again, listen, folks might be really surprised that I said I like Seattle over the 49ers. I don't believe in any of their quarterbacks. I think Brock Purdy was an outlier season. If you look at the teams that he beat, nothing to write home about. He's coming off of a surgery, even though they did say he's cleared to practice and he's going to be ready to play. And I just don't believe in any of those quarterbacks as unbelievable as a roster as they have. And I think Seattle is locked and loaded on both sides, offense and defense. So I'd say in the NFC, I think the Eagles and the Seattle Seahawks, as well as the Cowboys, I think could be 3 solid teams to invest in.
Our divisional futures will be coming out shortly. So keep your eyes peeled on what exactly you can get for the Seahawks price. Real quickly, Anita, because I know we've got a hard out here. Why don't we go through our Major League Baseball plays? I'll tell you right now the MLBI plays for this evening. The Reds money line against the Brewers right now scoreless in the top of the 7th, as you see on your screen here. We're down $11, but the Reds are batting. Joey Votto with a base hit. D-backs money line -144. Orioles even money against the Phillies. Braves -166 versus the Red Sox. And Rangers +157 against the Astros. Those are the 5 MLBI plays. Go ahead.
So no surprise here. I'm on Arizona.
Doctor.
Listen, Zach Gallen at home, he's lights out. 9-0 with a 1.48 ERA. This is the Arizona team. I know they snapped a 5-game losing streak last night, but they want to maintain that half a game back in the wild card division. So I do like them. Also, a few. You've got the Cardinals, who I think are teetering on being that seller as we get closer to the trade deadline. So I do believe we're going to see some guys that are not going to be active and attractive tonight, like Contreras, maybe some other guys. Arizona averaging almost 5 runs a game at home, batting .257. So I do like the Diamondbacks on the money line. And then my second game, I like Boston. I like the Red Sox on the run line tonight against the Braves. Listen, they've covered the run line in each of their last 8 night games at home against NL East opponents. After a win, they've won 13 of their last 18. Bellows on the bump for him. His last outing against the A's, not great, but his girlfriend was going into labor. So I'm sure that was something that was on his mind. He did have a great start against Atlanta back in May. And so I'm on Boston on the run line, and I like Arizona on the money line. And that first pitch is coming your way now. So you need to run to the window if you want to get on Arizona.
She is Anita Marks. This has been Market Movers. Anita, thank you so much. We'll check back in with you soon.
Go USA!
Yeah, USA. We'll talk to you.